It's Owen versus Clay, Nima versus Clay, Ryan versus Sasha, and a whole lot of fake news. Oh, and no Caleb.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh my goodness, hello. Welcome to Quantico, episode 15 of season 2. I'm your host, Drexel Heard. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Drexel Heard. I'm here back with the panel.
Yay! Hey guys, I'm Timothy Michael. You can reach me on all social media platforms at I am Timothy Mike. And this tan girl to my left.
Hey guys, you might notice how tan I am. I was in Florida. Thanks for noticing. And you can follow me on social media at Renee Ariel.
Well, that takes us right into this episode all about fake news. You can follow AfterBuzz at AfterBuzz TV. Use the hashtag ABTVQuantico to follow along in the conversation. If you're in the chat room, hello. If you're in the comments, hello. And guys, this whole episode started. I didn't even get to say the name of the show at the top of the show.
What show was this?
It was such a pregnant pause,
today?
Drexel. It was such a pregnant pause. I was like, I guess he's done.
Drexel's known for his dramatic pauses.
I was trying to give you I was trying to dramatize everything like this episode. It was so much drama.
It worked too well.
Welcome to the show, guys. Renee, welcome back. Hopefully you had a great vacation.
I missed you.
I missed you guys.
Yeah, it was just me and Tim last week, which Tim and I haven't done a show ever together with just me and Tim, so it was great.
I've got to rewatch that episode.
Yeah.
It was a great episode if I do say so myself. If I
do
do
say
say
so
so myself.
Does that mean you actually have to watch the episode of the show or episode or
No,
our
I
episode?
saw the episode. Guys, I do my homework. I saw the episode of the show. I just didn't watch the after show.
Did you watch it while you were tanning?
Yeah, I was tanning.
Oh
I was
my
like
gosh.
on the beach.
It didn't work.
Watching some Quantico.
Season 2, episode 15, Mockingbird, not to be confused with Mockingjay. Mockingbird.
Whew, thanks for...
I'm just clearing that up for people because, in 2017, people might think that a Mockingjay is real and not a Mockingbird. You never know these days. Started out with a terrorist act, in quotes. I'm going to stick the Donald Trump air quotes. Of Brookville, Virginia, a planned explosion. We saw it on the screen with the residents of Brookville. City started being evacuated. This whole episode, like I said at the top of the show, was really focused on fake news. Actually, it was all through the episode, which I'm going to assume that's where they kind of got the title of the episode from, because there was a lot of regurgitation of things as a Mockingbird would do. Where, for you guys, does fake news, how do you guys filter that out?
How do we filter out fake news?
Like on your own person, if you're reading through Twitter, how do you filter out what you think is fake news and what you think is real news?
Well, if it captures my interest, I'll research myself. If I'm curious about something, I'll know what's real or not. Gotta get through those alternative facts.
See, here's the thing. I'm a very gullible person. I actually one time watched a documentary on mermaids, and Drexel, I was trying to convince Drexel that it was real. And it wasn't after we did a little bit of research on it.
No. Yes.
So, and by research, Joe. And by research, you means I just Googled it. So I'm a very gullible person. So when I see something, and after that experience, I felt like it's taught me a lesson. So now I do my research, and every time I see something, especially in our current political state, if I see something that I feel is a little too far fetched, I will go and research it. Renee, you should get your life together right now, because I really thought those mermaids were real.
Yeah, he did. It was very sad. So yeah, this whole fake news situation, Donald Trump talks about fake news all the time. Even today, over the weekend, Fox News put out they had an alert on screen, on Twitter, about how Donald Trump was in the White House when he was actually at his golf course. Oh. But that's the kind of stuff this is the kind of world we're living in, and we talked about it at the beginning of this season, where we said that once after the election that this is the direction that the writers are going to take us into this world of Donald Trump, or this post-election world where things are not always what they seem.
I really liked that twist of this episode. I thought it was really smart. And it just, like, it really did catch my interest. Like, the whole time I was like, well, what's going to happen? What are they looking for? Like, I thought it was a very cool twist as opposed to it just being, like, I mean, in this show, there's so many acts of terror. It was refreshing for Quantico to do something different.
It was more of like and I thought that this was funny because do you guys think that, yes, the terrorist attack itself, and we will get to it, was ultimately a hoax, but the fake news, don't you guys consider that, you know, a domestic act of terrorism? When a news outlet, you know, gosh, I'm blanking out on the word. Publishes fake news. Wouldn't that be considered a domestic act of terrorism?
I don't think so, because I think that if you look at the National Enquirer and publications like that, they even publish.
No, but I mean like a you know
like a major news organization.
Yeah, legitimate organization.
I think that some organizations pick the problem is we live in the world of 24-hour news. So everybody wants a story, and they don't care where the story comes from. They just need to be right there when the story breaks. Yeah. And they need to come up with their version of what the story is so that the viewers can leave one network and go to another network. And they have to catch up to the story. They just have to break it first, see what happens, and then after that. And it used to be different. You know, we used to chase people, not we, I'm not a journalist, but they used to
all of us.
We as in journalists, people used to chase stories before they even published it. So I think that this is just a sign of the times where that's the nature of the situation, where everybody wants things so instant and they want their information so instant that they don't do their research. You know, there was we went through a whole election that was nothing but facts that were wrong.
Yep.
And people were reading into things, whether or not it was a meme that had a bunch of stuff. People wanted the quick answer, what they thought was the quick answer to things.
Yeah, like nowadays on Facebook.
Right.
All we see is that. We get like the weirdest articles, and then you're like, oh, this is real, and then you go to the site and it's some random
people just read a headline of something and they don't even click on it and then read through it and like do their research after that. I was
gonna say, yeah, those Facebook. I mean, if you're gonna talk about Facebook, I mean, you look at those headline things and then you read the comments and you look at all these people who are commenting on this and think that this is actually a real story, and all you have to do is click on the link and realize that it's fake, or just do a little bit of research and realize that it's fake or not true. But these people will go out of their way to just believe something that's blatantly untrue, and that's the sad part of the world that we live in.
And a lot of these internet trolls, and then we'll talk about the main task of the episode. A lot of these internet trolls are getting better. They're getting better at masking. They're making things look real. You can make anything look real nowadays.
That's
and
scary.
People will believe it. So let's talk about that main task, which was, we're still trying to figure out the board of seven or eight different cache things. So last week we found out where the money was, and this week we're finding out the other trying to put another face on the board. So we're trying to figure out why the fake news,
what collaborators what
do they want access? Yes.
Spill?
What do they want access to in that city? Why do they want the town to be evacuated, and what were they looking for?
Yeah.
And then coming to find out that the EPA and FEMA wasn't really looking for anything. Like, they hadn't issued out anything yet. So what did you guys think about how they got to that? Because Nima. I wasn't going to go Nima right now. They kind of figured out the misleading URLs and like different things like that to try to get them back to the city. What did you guys think about that whole situation, that whole Brookville situation?
I think it was smart on the terrorists point of view, because you literally cleared out a whole town with a fake news story. I think that's
just a dumb town.
I think yes.
Didn't nobody do nothing.
It's Brookville, Virginia. You can't really expect too much.
Hey.
But no, we love Brookville, Virginia. Wherever Brookville, Virginia is.
Look that up.
Yes, look that up. But I feel like it was a little bit too overdone. You know what I mean? Like it garnered a lot of media attention, which I would think that if you wanted to go under the radar, you wouldn't want to, attract so much attention, which they did. So I was a little bit confused by that. Clearly, it worked out in favor for them, but I would think that they would be a little bit more discreet about it.
Yeah, I was really surprised that got the whole town evacuated without like people actually seeing it or anything. You think there would be even like one house being like, nah, I don't believe that. Like some person in Virginia being like, I don't know. I don't think it's
it
real.
almost seemed like a coordinated effort because we did see Senator Boehner on screen giving a press conference about how his city was under attack and different like that, and trying to get all the information out. And so it seemed to be a coordinated media effort. Like I said, they're not really worried about the facts just yet. And it was weird that the only journalist that was really doing her job was the one journalist who was not chasing that story,
Right?
Like she should have been doing. So that was a little bit weird. And yeah, like I said, in this world of 24-hour, first of all, Brookville is not a real place. If that was, I think it was Brookville, Brookville.
Yeah, B-R-O-K.
Yeah, is not a place in Virginia. Is that in this world of 24-hour news cycle, not one person in the town thought to look it up.
Well, they're very gullible, like me and my mermaids. So
The whole
I don't know if
town,
anyone's
whole town.
that gullible.
right? I mean, there's got to be at least one person there. So yeah, we had senators making statements, and Owen talked about different things that trolls do to try to start misleading us with the misleading URLs, and then a convincing story, and then and then basically to have people go out there with credibility and kind of sell this story out there. Then we come to find out that they need to figure out how the internet trolls are getting their information, where they're getting this information from, who hired them to put this information out, and who do they call? Harry. Which I was like, out of all the, at first I was like, I wonder if they're gonna call like Simon, like somebody that's like a tech savvy person.
Yeah.
But they call the one person, like, I thought that was a little bit of a cop out.
Well, Simon's dead.
Well, I just meant like somebody. I just meant like somebody. Somebody that could have. Is Will dead?
Yes.
I don't.
I think Will is dead.
Was Will dead?
No, I don't think so.
Are we? I think Will's dead.
No, Will, the one who was.
I know Will's
yeah.
the tech savvy
The
guy
tech-savvy
from
guy.
this earlier this season.
I don't think he's dead. Yeah, we're gonna look that up again.
Next episode, we'll know.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, out of all the people they could have gotten, they got the one person who did not have a
Harry.
background in tech, who could not, like, he could go undercover, which they go undercover with these Russian troll, or what they thought. So the troll bank, the troll farm is in Norfolk, Virginia. So obviously, I thought two things, and you guys can correct me. So I thought it was going to be Russians in Norfolk when they walked into that room. I did not think it was going to be Americans. This guy that Harry and Alex walked into, speaking full on English without an accent, being this Russian troll, and I'm like, but that's not surprising that Americans are taking part of
Yeah,
this.
to be honest, I didn't even know what to expect. Like, I was just like, what? What are they going to do? What are the trolls, like, it looked like a big building that they were all in also. I was just, like, confused. I don't know too much about hackers. The
right.
majority of my knowledge on hackers was learned in this episode, if we're being honest.
Apparently hackers have no reflexes, because when that guy slammed down Harry in front of his desk, he was just like,
Yeah,
nothing, not phazed by
background
anything.
actors.
He's like,
And I
this,
was
he's like, this happens often.
I was like, okay, I guess. This,
One thing I did not. I again a situation that I thought was really weird was Alex. The guy says, "You look really familiar to Alex."
Yeah.
And Alex's face has been plastered everywhere. Now, for a group that's doing nothing but news, that's looking at nothing but news, for you to have never ever seen Alex Parrish's face, I'm like, how did she get away with that? Not only did she walk in there and go, "Oh yeah, I mean, whatever, I'm such and such and such and such. Oh, you look familiar." But like, what happens after that? You don't go back to these people. You don't hire them. What makes you think, what would have happened if they went back, looked up Alex, and then started publishing all of this fake news about Alex Parrish?
Well, not only that, but it's like why would they, and they addressed this in the last episode, that they know that Alex is this, well-known figure, because she is a hero. why would they put her right out in the spotlight when they have 3 other women who could equally do the job just the same? And B, address it in the same episode when she's like, when we're supposed to believe that Alex can go undercover, and yet when they approach Mallory behind the boxing bag and she's like, do you know who I am? And she's like, you're Alex Parrish. Like,
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
how does she know who you are,
Right.
but those hackers don't?
And in the last
I
episode,
agree.
they went into Sean's party. She had to go in as Alex Parrish.
Yeah.
Because she's so well known. I will say, though, the reason why I don't think the hackers would create all this fake news about Alex is because at the end of the day, it is a job, and someone would have to be paying them to do that. Otherwise, they wouldn't waste their time.
Exactly.
However, if one of the higher powers, they just got bored. They're like, let's ruin her life. I feel like it today. I mean, who knows?
Wouldn't put it past me.
I wouldn't either. But I think that one of the higher ups, one of the people that hires the hackers, if they got word of Alex, I think then they would start trying to publish fake news about her.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So that was a little bit weird. Like I said, out of all the people, so they come to find out that this company, Greypool, which is a military group, private military group, bought bought more time to find something within Brookville. What did you guys think they were looking for?
Like,
I thought they were looking for the drives.
They're looking for Lydia.
I
The
thought it was going to
drives.
come back to the drives again because I feel like everybody, because we had brought up Russians and I was like, maybe the Russians want to get the drives. That was my initial thought.
I had no idea. I'm like, is there some like secret file again? I mean, at this point, I feel like we lost the biggest files, all of the secret information already. So I don't know what more information more people would be after. So I was like, what could it possibly be? It's not just going to be money. Like, why would they have like money stacked away in some house? And I was like, is it a bomb? But why would there be a random bomb? Like, I was going to all these different things, and then I was like, oh, it's a person. That makes a little more sense.
Yeah, and the person ended up being Mallory Haynes, played by Adrienne Warren. From the Broadway. And so basically her role working for Senator Boehner was to create fake news to help him gain notoriety, to kind of increase his face time and his political agenda. That's a little scary. I'm not surprised
That's so scary.
Yeah, but I'm not like Drexel. I'm not surprised that would happen. I mean, if you look at it, an opponent to what was the senator's name again? I'm sorry. Boehner would probably go out there and spread fake news about him in order to discredit him in some kind of way.
Which happens all the time.
So it's not surprising that he would hire somebody to create fake news in order to benefit himself. If you could use it in one way in a negative, you can use it in the positive.
Yeah, but there's a difference in spinning. There's a difference in spinning something and spinning the truth and embellishing it and then creating a whole new story, blowing up something on TV and then you know what I mean? Like, there's a whole different way to do that other than, because like, who said it? I feel like somebody said it, like, the truth will always come back out. Even like when Clay was talking to Owen and he said, you know, why would I lie to them? Because what happens if the truth comes back? And with the news like this, you create fake news, it will always come back to you. I mean, look what, like I said at the top of the show, look what happened to Fox News. Come to find out that people were like, "What are you talking about, Fox News?" Like, you put it on your TV, you put it on your social media, and the president is now at his golf course, and there's pictures to prove it. And what happens to that? So I think the truth will always come out back after that. So, like I said, they go on to find Mallory. And like you pointed out, she saw Alex's face, knew who Alex was. They take her back. They do a little debrief, and then they just kind of let her go.
Well,
not let her go, but they like
away.
send her away. Owen and Clay go to talk to her. The only weird thing that I thought about it, and you guys chime in on this, is again Diana being really suspicious when she like was trying to listen in on what was happening. I was like.
But they didn't really, they kind of addressed that. Like, they showed her, but then never went back to her after
That's what
that.
I'm saying.
So
I
was
still
like,
don't trust Diana.
I think what upset me the most about this whole Mallory thing was that she was so upset that they were giving her an out, and she basically killed 11 people with what she said. And that's exactly what the task force guys were saying, is that they don't want to let her go because she basically is responsible for the deaths of 11 people.
Well,
what?
I wouldn't say she's responsible for the. I mean, there shouldn't have been a shoot up at the bakery.
And there wouldn't have been if she hadn't said all that stuff about it.
Yes, no, I definitely agree. I just think it's a gray area because yes, there should not be fake news to begin with, but at the same time, if it wasn't her job, it would have been someone else's job. So really, I would say it's the person above her, and then also I would blame the shooters more so than her who is doing her job. But still, I don't think it's right. But I also wouldn't put all of that just on her.
I mean, I'm not putting all of it. I just didn't have any sympathy for her in that moment because you're getting a second life. Like, all you have to do is stay out of the spotlight. Don't use the internet. Right. Like, I'm sure you can make that work. 11 people are dead. What about Instagram? What about our show? How are you going to watch our after show?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of just that bakery situation. It kind of reminds me of the Pizzagate situation in Virginia, where Breitbart put out this news thing about how there was a underage sex ring at this pizza joint.
What?
Like, and then Breitbart over the weekend, and Alex Jones and a whole bunch of conservatives, that media outlets had to like apologize for like creating this crazy story. And so, yeah, so when you get into, and some guy went into the pizza place and then brought a gun and like started shooting in the air. Didn't kill anybody, thank goodness. But like that triggered a lot of people to go in there. So I think that, yeah, fake news has consequences, and it will start to trigger people who may not have the resources to Google stuff, or who may just take things at face value depending on who's saying what.
Thank you, Drexel, because I thought that was just about people who want like pineapple on their pizza.
I don't know if you guys can hear that. Can they hear that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That is Mark, our amazing engineer. We love Mark.
I love all y'all. You're beautiful people. Even the very, very tan Renee.
Yes, very tan. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really crazy situation, and yeah, Mallory's role in that, had an effect on a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
So they give her they didn't really give her what do they call that? Witness protection.
No.
Like, I didn't get that feel from that.
No, they definitely didn't. But I think that's because everything they do is under the radar.
Yeah.
So they can't. Like, what are they
He
going to say?
said, I don't have the authorization to do that.
Yeah, he doesn't, because they're not going to expose anyone, because right now they have to stay under the radar to then continue on with their mission. They have not figured everything out yet, so that's why they're not trying to really lead on to anyone what they're doing.
But they did give her all the advice that she may need in order to live
Still, that's
whatever kind of
hard.
life that she can. Yeah, it's hard, but at least you're alive.
Yeah.
I mean, just saying.
At least you're not dead.
I'm always a glass half full kind of person.
So that's basically this whole situation. We find out the new face on the board, which is the government portion of that. So they connected Mallory to Senator Boehnerd's office, then connected Senator Boehnerd to the Speaker of the House, Speaker Rourke, who I'd have to look who that actor is. So, but obviously he's going to play a bigger role, which I'm surprised President Haas has not mentioned. Like, his name didn't come up in prior episodes at least once. Like, I've talked to the speaker or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, because then that would kind of give us a jump into, we've now heard the speaker's name once, and now we're here.
And this just goes back to what me and Drexel spoke about in our last episode, when you had said, why is President Haas here and not at the White House and everything like that. And I said, it's because we don't exactly know how deep this infiltration goes into the government, and clearly it's reached the Speaker of the House. So Lord knows how much further it goes from that.
Yeah.
Yep. So so that's where they are right now. New face on the board. You missed it last week. We talked about how we should have a big whiteboard in here that had the faces of all the people. So Speaker Rourke is now the second name on the 8-person board. Let's talk about Owen and Clay's relationship. Clay, obviously, Hunter Parrish's character, this newbie kid. You've got Owen coming in there, and they had this really great scene and this really great conversation. Do you think that Clay really wants Owen's advice, or do you think that he's just kind of going through the motions of being the politician and placating Owen for as long as he can to kind of get the information he needs?
No, I don't think so. I think that he genuinely wants his advice, and especially in that last scene that they had, it was mostly about him trying to, explain to Owen that yes, he might not have the experience that he does, but he does have some kind of experience which would be valuable to this task force, and that's why he's continued to stay on even though he doesn't want to be there. And I feel like they found common ground in each other because, you know, Owen didn't really want to be there, and neither does he.
Yeah.
And they have found common ground and their own private reasons as to why they want to stay on this. And I feel like they could learn a lot from each other.
I definitely agree with you. I will say I find Clay's character very cheesy. I love this show, just him. There's something about him that's very off for me.
Because he's too perfect.
But he is quite perfect. But he's related to Caleb, so are we surprised?
We talked. Even he's a Haas. We talked about he's not a Caleb. We talked about who we liked better, Caleb or Clay.
We talked about who was more attractive.
Who's more
not
attractive?
Who we liked more.
Who's more attractive?
Who do you think?
I
think
said
he is.
I said Clay definitely is more attractive.
Wait, you think Caleb?
I don't like either of them, so.
But their dynamic is even more cheesy to me. What it reminds me of, to be perfectly honest with you, is like a dramatic episode of Seventh Heaven. It's like there's an issue and he's like, I just want respect. He's like, you have to earn respect, and just a lot of things, but they're dynamic.
And then the more you know star goes behind the head.
And then it was all like, I don't know. It was a bit much for me. I'm hoping his character will feel more normal, or organic as the season progresses.
Right.
But right now, I just find something so off about him. It just feels like a try hard with dynamics when it involves Clayton. Like even Clayton and Shelby's dynamic feels like it's trying too hard. Clayton and Owen's dynamic, trying too hard. Like every dynamic when it involves Clayton right now is just like, doesn't feel natural to me.
Another relationship that Clayton tried too hard not to deal with was Nema.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about how he treated Nema? Because at one point he called Nema a glorified mascot.
Yeah. I feel like Nema's getting hit from all angles, because last episode she was getting it from, oh god, she was getting it from Shelby, because Shelby was like, she's a terrorist, I don't understand why she's here, and then they've had their,
which he called her a terrorist again,
and then he called her a terrorist in this episode, and you know, I feel like Nema is not going to be able to live this down, which she shouldn't. Yes, she made a mistake. It was a pretty big mistake, but I feel like I liked Nema. I've always liked Nema, and I feel like she has done more good than bad. And I feel like if you're going to be a leader for this team, as Clayton is trying to be, you can't keep going after your teammates, because they're never going to have that respect that you want from them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And it just goes back to awkward dynamics, trying too hard with Clayton, because I just feel like it was, again, trying too hard. He was trying too hard to be like, yeah, well, you're just like the glorified mascot, or yeah, you go sit in the room. It was just too much. Like, I would have preferred, to be honest, a more subtle approach of like her wanting to contribute and then him kind of brushing her off, as opposed to literally like putting her in the other room, not letting her participate in the mission,
not answering your phone when she's calling you during a mission. Like, no, this can't be important.
That's why this whole Clayton, it just feels so weird for me, and maybe I just need to get used to his character a bit more. But I can't take it seriously. Like, I feel like when it's a scene with him, I'm like not watching Quantico, if that makes sense.
I feel like his relationship with Shelby is getting a little weird for me. I feel like in this
so
episode,
weird.
I feel like if they have a thing, it's gonna be really weird for me.
They better not.
I mean,
like,
we talked about it last episode. Like, if she goes from Caleb to his father to the brother, I was like, we were like, all that's left is freaking the president of the United States. She's got to sleep with Claire, and then that'll be it.
Guys, how awkward was it that she was like, oh, I just lied and said I had a boyfriend. I just wanted to look good. I wanted you to think that I'm worthy of being loved.
Even
Hashtag fake news. Fake news from Shelby Wyatt.
Alternative facts, guys.
Alternative facts. Another weird relationship coming out of this is the relationship between Ryan and Sasha. Obviously, we're still dealing with the aftermath of Alex and Ryan, but now this Sasha girl is coming in, and she is relentless.
She is.
I like her character just because she
reminds you of me.
Yes, exactly. I feel like she's the only one in this entire Quantico world who's trying to get answers to questions and not just taking it at face value and being like, oh yeah, this guy just turned purple, whatever. She's like, no, why did this guy turn purple? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she's going out there and actively searching for answers, yes, which could be annoying to the team, but at the same time, we're all sitting here going, well, yeah, why you should be asking these questions.
I like her as well. I like that she found Ryan on the internet at the end of last episode, because I was like, oh my gosh, girl, I feel you. I will say what made me laugh is their text conversation, because she texted him and he was literally, how long were they there? It couldn't have been an hour later. She was like, ignoring me. Be patient.
Thirsty.
He has a job. He's a CIA.
Well, she doesn't know that. Just she does kind of know that. Yeah.
She does know
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
Like, he's got stuff going on. He might be on a mission. Like, maybe he's not always on his phone. Like, girl, after
Right.
an hour was, like, ignoring me, because I can just imagine her on her computer, like, checking his Facebook activities. Like, are you available?
One of the weird things that I saw that I had to write down that I laughed about, because in TV you just make shit up. But she calls Ryan from an unknown number. Blocked number. Now, when you get a call from a blocked number, you can't see the number. What does Ryan do?
Saves the number.
He saves the number. He saves the non-number. I was like, what is happening?
I think what bothered me about the whole thing is when Sasha had saw him in the truck, they had literally drove maybe like 2 blocks and then saw all these people, but none of these people just heard the giant shootout that had just happened in their town.
Right.
Like gunshots are pretty loud, you guys. You could hear them from a couple of blocks away. So.
Which I thought was really cool, because we had not seen a shootout on Quantico in a long time.
The shootout was cool, but nobody was reacting to it in the town once they drove past that group of people that was waiting to get let back into the
You know what
homes.
it is? It's because they're from the same town as that
one guy in the
one guy at the computer.
No
They have
reactions.
no reaction to anything. No reflexes to anything.
That's what happens in Brookville.
That's what happens in Brookville. So yeah, Ryan becomes Sasha's basically source at the CIA now. Which is something new that we haven't seen on Quantico, is actually a news source and a news relationship.
Yeah.
But that's not the first time that we've seen a relationship with somebody from the press, because Leon was a photojournalist, and we didn't really get to see his photojournalism in action, which takes us to the end of the episode, where we see Leon, or what we think is Leon, if you don't see somebody's little face.
Yeah, but he was calling his phone.
Yeah, but you
Yes,
never know in this show.
Yeah.
But it did look like the whole, like, you set up a fake suicide type thing, like they talk about. But who knows? Again, we didn't see the body.
We didn't see the face. We did see a body.
Well,
but,
we saw the hands.
But let's assume that it's Leon. I will be really... What do you guys think? Why do you guys think they're going... Do you think that Leon was right, that they're starting to go after people from the farm?
I mean, just based on the preview from what we saw at the end of this episode, I think that they are going to be going after people from the farm, and I think that it's a pretty believable storyline, because you have all these people that just finished at the G20 summit and then are going after these drives, which are called the cash. So I can believe that there would be people going after them.
100%. And I actually have a prediction, but I'm going to obviously save it for predictions about one of the characters who I think might be next, or one of the next couple. But yeah,
We're not there yet.
Not there yet.
The last thing that did not happen in this episode was, of course, the emergence of Caleb Haas.
Why tease us? Why tease us, ABC?
You know what it is? Is because they watch this show and they know that's what we've been waiting on for at least a season.
I'm really great
and a
with
half.
not
Do you know
having
what's
Caleb
funny?
come back.
I was thinking that they watched this show because of how many times they said Nima's name in this
Just
episode.
to remind me.
I was like, I feel like they watch our show and they're like, this dude can't get it. Let's say her name 8 times in this episode.
It's so funny. I do the Good Wife after show earlier. I mean, the Good Fight after show earlier in the day, and I completely made up a whole new character on that show. And my panel was like, "Oh, we just thought you knew that was the name because you just seem so like sure about that name." And I was like, "Guys, you could have told me that was not the name the whole time. I've been saying this whole wrong name."
So funny.
So yes, that will take us into this week's predictions. Ooh.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Renee,
Yes.
what do you think?
I think that the scene with Alex and Harry is foreshadowing Harry's death. And I think Alex won't leave his side. It's going to be a very emotional death. Like, they're going to catch him, like, after he shot her, after something happens, because they're going to be targeting everyone on the farm. But I definitely think Harry is going to die this season because of that conversation, because she's like, I'm not going to leave your side. Ooh. And I also predict that they are taking a very different turn with the rest of this season, as I can see from last week's episode as well as this week's episode. It's more like of a feel-good show now. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a lot more like, hey, welcome. Oh my gosh, let's get beers. Oh my gosh, our life is so complicated. Like relatable stuff that I'm like,
What did
We'll
you
see.
call? What did you show?
An
me
episode
earlier?
of Friends.
I was like, what is this, an
Friends?
episode of Friends? When they're all like having beer, so it's like, what did he say to Nima? Like, you're finally part of the team. She's like, well, I want to kick your butt at darts. And it's like,
Why
oh.
does she have that accent though?
I
That's
I thought that was a very good Russian accent.
right. Nima is very not Russian. She's
I
definitely not
cannot do her
Russian.
accent.
Yeah, she's not
Duh.
Russian though.
I know she's not Russian.
She's not Russian.
She's Middle Eastern, right?
Yeah. That's
Oh,
not
so
that.
I should know this accent. These are my people.
Yeah, that tan.
I'm going to kick
that
your butt.
vitamin D.
I just keep.
Yeah, you can't
I'm
just-
going
you
to
keep
kick your
going
butt.
Russian, though.
She sounded like that, guys. We're gonna leave in the comments below how much I sound like Nima.
Oh my God.
A 10 out of 10.
Tim, what do you think?
I think that the whole relationship with Sasha and Ryan that's emerging is going to become really complicated, especially with Alex. When Alex finds out, I think she's going to feel some kind of way about it, and that's going to be this whole like triangle thing. I feel like you're right about Harry being maybe the next person, because I felt like in this
Or
episode,
the person.
the person that's gonna die next, because I feel like in this episode they're straining this like friendship with Alex and Harry. Like I feel like they're trying to make us like them together, just because when he dies it'll like hurt us more because it hurts Alex. I'm not really, I think it's a little too strained. And I feel like Shelby and Clay are probably going to get together. And I don't want them to, because I think it's really, really slutty on Shelby's part.
I just think it's morally wrong. Like, you can't.
just,
three
like-
of them from. Save some for the rest of us.
Like, seriously though, like,
Oh my
and there's
gosh.
other women on this task force. Like, can we? Diana's beautiful. Can we go after
And
Diana?
guys,
Alex is
she
single.
can go after Harry.
He could go after Harry. Wait, she could go after Harry?
No, Clay.
Oh, I was like,
No, I don't think.
I don't think he would, but you never
Did
know. It's
anybody?
2017.
Speaking of like gay relationships, did anybody get like a gay vibe from Nima and Diana for a second? Because I did a little bit.
no,
I did a little
I
bit.
know what you're talking about. It felt like a weird connection, but I don't know if it was like romantic. It felt just weird to me. Again, a few of these dynamics this episode and even last episode felt a bit unorganic.
It's all fake news. It's all a red herring.
It's all fake.
Because Raina was the one that was in love with Simon, right?
Raina
think
was
so.
in love with Simon.
Yes.
So we don't know
I think
Nima's
Nima might be
sexuality.
a lesbian. That's another prediction.
Oh my gosh.
But Diana was with the guy. I mean, she could be bi. But
Well, we definitely want to know what you think about Renee's Russian accent. We do have a few social media shout outs today, things folks thought about tonight's episode. So if we could bring those up so I can take a look. See, at Jazz at Rants of a Fangirl.
Rants of a Fangirl.
Says last week's Quantico TV's promo showed Caleb, and this week he isn't in this episode. Is that fake news,
Yes.
Quantico writers? At Quantico writers, hashtag Quantico. At MF at Dirty862. Shelby is going to bang the whole family. President Haas needs to wash out. Hashtag Quantico.
I feel you, Dirty.
Brianna at Brianna QDT218 says at Quantico Writers, at Quantico TV, and everybody that's on the show. Jasmine Masari and Russell Tovey, who played I didn't even get who plays Nima, and Russell Tovey, who plays Harry. I don't know if I'll survive something happening to Nima or Harry next week. Hashtag Quantico. They're good with your Harry prediction. And last but not least, David Gerard from the comments. I have said at 3 comments. I like Harry more than Ryan. There's a Haas daughter. That's a
sister.
prediction.
Yeah, that's who Shelby's
That's who Shelby's going to sleep with too. And as we've been saying from the beginning of this season, Director Keys is bad.
Watch him be the last name on the board. Watch.
Last name on the board. So thanks to David and everybody else for their comments. Leave your comments below because we definitely want to know what you guys think about tonight's episode and what you guys think is going to happen for the next few episodes. We only have a few more episodes left until the season finale. What do you guys got coming up this week?
So Thursday nights at 9 p.m. I will be doing Grey's Anatomy, and Friday morning at 9 a.m. as well, I will be doing the Unproduced Table Read series with Jeff Graham.
I will be doing the Girls After Show on Sunday at, I believe, 8 p.m. And then I do Disney Movie News on Popcorn Talk on Wednesdays at 9 live.
Disney Movie News. And you can catch me tomorrow night at 6 p.m. on Black Hollywood Lies and AfterBuzz TV's Political Culture with Chelsea Galicia. We'll see you all next Monday night for episode 16. Not fake news. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.